going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing.
Boom, and hello and good morning. The Super PlayStation Bros are here and ready to give you everything that's going on PlayStation this week. I'm joined by Dorgon over here. How are you doing this morning? Excited to talk about PlayStation.
Always excited to talk about PlayStation. Always excited to be here with you. Just love talking gaming, all this sort of stuff. And it means it's the middle of my week, so I can't argue at all. It's brilliant. That's why I love this show so much. How are you,
Awesome,
my friend?
awesome.
How's your week been? What you been up to?
I've been keeping busy. Work's been getting a little bit more spicy as of late. You know how I like to keep it chill. But you gotta get stuff done when it comes up. Other than that, I've been gaming on some awesome titles. Really only... Actually, 2 titles. Okay, one, I've been deep diving into Shadow of the Erdtree. As last week, I was talking about that. And this is what I'm happy about. I'm still playing it. It's not something that I just ate up in a week. I'm still progressing through it. And you know the pace I eat games at. So... This has been this has been a delightful experience for myself, so I enjoy that. And then I got into some First Descendant, but your boy Wibble, oh my goodness, I saw his stream go up today. Level 20 Mastery 8. I'm like, jeez. Oh, it came out yesterday, Wibble. Came out yesterday. He knows how to get it in. Oh, I got to team up with him sometime soon. But lots of fun on those 2 titles. Almost on my way to the end of Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm now like going around, making sure I didn't miss anything. But enjoying all my time in that space. But yourself, what have you been gaming on this week? Have you been able to turn on the PlayStation, or too busy with life's obstacles?
This week specifically, so Monday through to today, I have not had a chance to turn the PlayStation on at all. It's been a manic week. Life's obstacles have just been getting in the way. Last week, I was doing a similar thing to what you've been saying about Shadow of the Erdtree and just plodding through Destiny 2, the final shape. I haven't done everything that expansion has to offer yet. I've still got quite a bit to do. I've got to go and earn the Kavos stuff. I've got to do a few bits for level 8 ranking in Guardian ranks. I've got to do Excision on Grandmaster. I've got to do the raid and such yet. So I've just been casually plodding through that and enjoying my time with it. I like that I don't feel rushed with it like I've done with previous content. I like that I don't feel like I have to get it out of the way immediately because the next thing is coming. I did want to get into First Descendant. I played the beta of it I feel like it was 6 months ago or so now, and I really enjoyed the beta. Really enjoyed that. I thought it had a few legs. So I've been watching people play the last couple of days because there's Twitch drops available. If you are going to be playing the game, make sure you go and watch a few people with the Twitch drops enabled so that you can get just a few cool cosmetics in-game. But I've not had a chance. I've just not been able to. I was out most of yesterday evening. which is when I would have had my first chance to play post-launch. So it's there, it's downloaded, it's on my system, it's ready to go. I need the time of day to actually get into it, which just isn't giving itself to me at the moment, unfortunately. But hey ho, such is life. As your work is heating up and getting a bit spicy, my life and work is also getting a bit spicy, so we do what we can.
We do what we can. Well, let's jump into what's been going on in PlayStation this week, shall we?
Indeed, it sounds like a good idea for a PlayStation-centric podcast.
Yes, and shout out to people coming on in. Good morning, Lo-Fi, Simply Pwned Gaming waving in there. How you doing? And Phoenix, Wibbles had fun farming. I'm sure he did. I like the third person element. All of the abilities, different characters. I've already unlocked Bunny because who hasn't? Come on, Bunny is
Wibble
S tier.
hasn't. Wibble doesn't have Bunny.
Well, he probably went for something else because he's like, oh, I'm gonna go meta. And then he just like something's better than Bunny.
He does go a bit meta on occasion. I know that when I get into it, I want to go fire and I want to go ice. They are like the two sort of primary things I want to go for. If I can unlock those characters, we will have to see. But I've got to get into the game first. That's my biggest problem thus far.
Good morning, Houston. Another sharpshooter. Drop us your rank, actually. I'm curious to see what your rank is now, Houston, because I know you were actively playing First Descendant. So I'd be curious to see what yours is in comparison. And Wibble doesn't like Bunny? How can you not like Bunny? See, that's what I mean. He probably got the upgrade part instead of Bunny, and he's using it in some different way, and he's got such and such unlocked with this meta build. And I'm like just standing around with Bunny in a hand cannon, just like, I'm having fun. Pa-pow, pa-pow, zip, zip, zip.
You're all about that badonkadonk, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's why you went for Bunny.
I plead the fifth, says Americans.
So Wibbles tends to be more about the booba, so he went for those sort of characters. So if you prefer your booba tea, I know it's boba tea, but you know we're keeping it above board.
Oh, I had no idea what you were talking about. I was like about to ask for a definition. I see exactly what you're saying.
Booba. And you're more the badonkadonk. We know which way we're going here. Me, I like cold, so...
Let's jump into PlayStation. Plus, I want to see when that hot and cold controller ever comes out. That'd be cool. PS Plus Essentials offer 3 more PS5 and PS4 games to download right now. That's right. It's time to smash the button and call an emergency meeting because Among Us is here. So that's a fun one, a fun ad. If you haven't jumped on the Among Us train, there's a group of us that like to play. Usually once a week, we'll get into it on Simply Pwned Gaming. He's in the chat here on his channel, and we all airlock each other. We have a bunch of fun, and just we play the game wrong, but it's too much fun. It's too much fun that way.
What's the way you guys play? I mean, Among Us is a great addition. It is still an excellent game. I know most people got into Among Us during 2020 and the global pandemic. It's still an excellent game. It's still adding and evolving and changing over time. It's got a great player base. It's cross-platform. So I play on mobile most of the time. So I play on Android with you guys. You're playing on PS5 when SPG is playing on PC and so on and so forth. But yeah, the way you guys play, there is no rhyme. There is no reason. I have literally been cleared of any wrongdoing by SPG and 3 seconds later airlocked by him because I was apparently the traitor. It makes no sense the way you guys play. I do not recommend, if you want to play the game properly or try and have a competitive experience, to play with this little community. But if you just want to have a riotously ridiculous time, where you will be laughing non-stop or absolutely flummoxed at what just happened, would wholeheartedly recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. We play it wrong, but we have fun. Like everyone's saying in the chat. And hey Neil, thanks for stopping on by. Rudix, can you crank him up? Yes, apologize if Dorgon was lower. Sometimes my sound has a mind of its own, but I have
Seems to not
adjusted
like
that.
me. It's just me it doesn't like.
It doesn't like some people. It's not just you. Sometimes
Okay,
I get
I feel
this.
better.
Yeah. SPG is, oh, come on. Everybody tells the truth in there except David Wilson. Come on, we all know we got to get him down first.
Except SPG, except Rudix, except Ray is
No,
one of the worst. Ray is
I
terrible.
I am a guiding light of truth and reason. And
No,
Ray is always
no.
murdering people. SPG is stirring the
I
pot.
vouched for you when I knew you were the murderer. I got you your W. You immediately sold me out. You are not good. Backstab.
Also, a fun one is that I am 1 away from a platinum, 1 kill away from platinum.
Yeah. It's a good addition to PS Plus Essential. It's a very cheap game, all in all, Among Us, but it is so fun. And it's one of those, because you can download it for free on other platforms like your mobile phone, a lot of people haven't got into it on the likes of console or PC, so to have it just added to your library is a fantastic thing. When you add it alongside experiences like Borderlands 3 as well, which is just another hilarious 4-person co-op first-person shooter where you have guns that scream at you or grow legs and run away.
Yes.
It seems like PlayStation have gone for the month of the wild and wacky, wonderful game. I love playing Borderlands with my other half. We can play split screen, but then we can also go online and play with other people as well. So I would be interested to, if we can arrange it, maybe play with you and your other half if you're up for it at some point. That would be great fun.
I will ask her if she is willing. My wife is a mobile gamer, all right? She'll do the Candy Crush and the matching and stuff. But she'll have some fun. I'll pull her into it.
I imagine your partner and mine will get along because you and I will just be at the front dying and they'll be despairing at us. That is Borderlands in a nutshell.
Well,
yeah,
we have
good month.
Yeah. And to give a shout out to Canada, we got NHL 24 because Canada Day, why not? Let's give some hockey in there. And also it's crossplay, so you can challenge people on different platforms. And it's nice to see that they're bringing that to the sports games.
It's nice to have a different sports game added. Yeah, we had football last month, our version of football with the round ball, not the oblong ball, which we call rugby, and then America play wrong. They throw it forwards. What is wrong with them? Like, learn the rules. Throw it backwards, folks. But it's nice to have that in there. We've had cricket added recently as well. I think they might be going on a spree of adding a bunch of different sports games. We've had NBA for the last few years, so it's nice to get NHL. I have no idea what hockey's like, other than field hockey in high school, which basically ended up with broken shins for everybody in school. Yay. So I'm looking forward to playing that, learning a bit about the sport and your country's main pastime, which is apparently where all of your anger and violence goes, from what pop culture tells me.
Yeah, I can't argue otherwise. You are right, sir.
I've got nothing more to add there. No, good month for games on PS Plus Essential.
Yes, PS Plus. Make sure you hit all the downloads. Add them to your network. Again, this is going to be a unique thing for PlayStation moving forward, and you're going to want to make sure that you keep these games onto your catalog, onto your library, because you never know when they'll take the library away from you. Other people. Anyways, let's move on.
Wonder who you're talking about. Ubisoft, Microsoft. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
PSN online services restored across the board. So, what happened in gaming recently? We saw multiple different networks go down all across gaming, and I, for one, am a little bit shocked how fragile we really saw gaming was. Just in an instant, all of these services go down, and people are disconnected all over the place. I heard reports that people couldn't even put discs in their systems and play. It wasn't able to be working. It's a scary place to be when you can see how fragile it is. Perhaps there should be some sort of backup. I mean, us as gamers, I think deserve a little bit more than this. And really, I may have to start stacking up some Nintendo cartridges just in case. I don't know. What do you do when game services go down? Because I really feel like that was the only place to really get gaming experiences at that time.
It's a difficult one at the moment because you don't particularly have a choice. If you're on PC, for example, you're buying from Steam. There is no physical media over on the PC side of things. Like I say, game cartridges for Switch, they do have the game on there. It is the base version. It is the Gone Gold launch version. So if that game is absolutely diabolical at launch, you will want an internet connection to update it and have it workable. Like, say, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games, they were god-awful at launch. They're a bit better now. They're still awful, but they're a bit better. So you kind of want the physical option to be able to play. The problem we're facing with so many of these games, and you can see it with the Ubisoft title of Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows coming later this year, both require you to have an internet connection at all times to play the game. And both of those are single-player titles. So the moment these services go down, and these services will go down, they are a network, the same as a mobile network, the same as a television network, the same as anything else. They can be quite fragile. They can fall over at a moment's notice. They could fall over, and I have seen this. I have been in a company when this has happened. A whole server set can go down because the cleaner unplugs a server to plug the vacuum in to do their job. So all of that information is gone until that server's plugged back in and done its repair loop. So there is a lot that can go wrong with these networks. And when we've got single player games that are suffering because of it, I understand multiplayer games, you need that server capacity and availability to actually be able to play them. But when you've got single player or split screen games that can't be played because there isn't an internet connection, that isn't good enough. These need to be able to be played from your local hardware. And we've got to be vocal about it. It's got to be a vocal response from the community that this is what we want. And we have seen it from PlayStation. We have seen it from Nintendo in the past, that they have changed their tune, changed their tack when we get vocal about things that are not working well for us. So by all means, have your physical editions, have your single player games, but make it known that you want to be able to play these things offline. Because if you can't and these servers go down, what happens in 10 years when they turn the PlayStation 5 servers off? Right? You can still play all your PlayStation 3 games currently on your PlayStation 3. You just can't play the multiplayer because the servers aren't there, but all of the rest of the game is available if you stick the disc in the drive. We are in a position now where we might not have that availability in 10 years' time for the PlayStation 5, and that needs to be addressed now whilst the PlayStation 5 is current. So it's about us being vocal. That's all you can do. I don't know if Microsoft servers are back up today. I know they were down yesterday for Xbox, so they're struggling as well. They're suffering. I know Nintendo have had an outage in the last 3 or 4 weeks. There's challenges everywhere at the moment, and it's about us gamers being vocal and saying what we want.
Well said. Well said. Good points. I can't help but agree. But let's keep moving on through, because now I'm not sure we'll get through all these news stories. PS Stars returning soon in regional rollout. So finally, people who have been wondering what's going on with my stars. They've been out since June. What is it? It's just been an insane outage. And people are wondering, am I still getting my rewards? What's happening with that? Well, there are ways to check your rewards outside of the application. You can simply email within the PS website a link through their website, and it gives you your information history. And people who did that were able to see that they were still receiving their credits from their digital purchases. So that, in fact, was still happening while the outage was occurring. So if you were worried about that, do not be worried. You were still receiving all of your bonuses, all of your digital currency. So that is good to hear. And regionally, it should be flip the switch back on. Make sure to check on the daily.
Yeah, I would think it would be within the next 1 to 2 weeks. They tend to do quite a slow rollout, Sony do, just to make sure everything's stable before moving on to the next area. So they're doing, I believe it's live in Japan and Korea currently. So they're doing the Asia sort of region. They'll be moving across to Europe next. I don't know when UK falls in Europe. We're generally the last of that mob because we are technically separate now after some stupid vote a few years back. But it'll then come across to North America, South Americas, and so on and so forth. So it's good that it's coming back. It's great news, that one, about it's still registering digital purchases. We don't have answers yet about whether you're getting the credits from the challenges that were set, because this went down at the start of Days of Play, and there were a lot of additional Days of Play challenges, and no one's been able to see what those challenges were or check up on if they've been achieved. So it's going to be interesting to see how much is still there, how much has expired, how much they've extended. Hopefully it comes back, and hopefully there have been a couple of improvements whilst they've been there, especially in stability and what have you. But yeah, glad to see it's coming back. It's a decent little program. I just want to see it ramped up a little bit and given a bit more focus.
And shout out to everybody coming on in, hanging out with us in chat. You guys are awesome. We are talking PlayStation news. I'm joined, as always, by Doragon, and I am Rudigs. Links in the description. Like and subscribe if you feel the vibe. Let's get into it. A big story about to be hit up here is PlayStation's House Marquee. What have they been up to? Returnal was such a great game. What are they doing next? Well, we have one little insight into here coming at us on Canada Day, and that is they are working on a AAA action game. Yes, they are singing my song. They're all dancing, playing the fiddle. They're like, Rudix, we're making it for you. Don't worry. Wait. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Devil guy went down to Georgia at the moment. Like,
apparently. That I could have gone air guitar there, I guess, but no. I imagine the people who made Returnal playing fiddles. Yeah.
I don't know. They're from. Are they Sweden? They're Scandinavia of description, aren't they? So I don't know why, but I can see them playing the accordion. It just feels appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, like a haunted.
Whenever I've been around that neck of the woods, you know, like buskers in America, UK, Australia, and co. They're all on guitars with singing popular songs. Like you go around your Germanic countries, and they're all on accordions. It's like, what? This is amazing. This is superb. Like, so yeah, I don't. Maybe that's what's coloring my opinion there. But yeah, they're playing accordions whilst making a new AAA game. I mean, was there any real question on this? Housemarque are a great developer. They've done phenomenal games in the past. They propped the early PlayStation 4 up on their shoulders with things like Resogun, and then they propped early PlayStation 5 on their shoulders with Returnal. And to be working on a new AAA game, it just makes sense after what they've previously done. They had great success with it. It's going to be a new IP again. They're great at putting new IPs out. They don't always need to do sequels. I like to see that. There's a wealth of talent there. I can't wait to see what they bring. But all we've got is this one job listing that says they are making a AAA action adventure title. That's all we know so far.
So I believe the job title talked about a specialization with boss. Yes, a passion for enemy and boss design and combat encounters that are exciting and innovative as and creative as possible. So all of those things says to me that they are creating a game that is boss design focused. And I feel to me that those are the type of games that get me more excited. Those huge boss scenes like in Returnal where the enemy is literally shaking the very fabric of the ground you're walking on. I like those big moments. I like overcoming obstacles that seemingly no one could possibly do. You're not equipped for it, but yet you overcome. So that kind of stuff gets me excited, and I'm glad they're looking for other passionate people to contribute to that. So that's why I say they're playing their fiddles, they're playing their accordions, and they're making my jam.
They're giving you some proper old folk tales from out east, sort of thing, comparatively to you, of course. And yeah, I like the sounds of it. The boss battles in Returnal were absolutely incredible. They were some of the biggest, the weirdest, the hardest that I have personally faced in a game outside of the Soulsborne titles. And it's just the speed and the bullet hell that they were throwing at it, and the fact that they're saying again about unique and interesting combat encounters. If they just take the ethos that they had for Returnal and dial it up a little bit, whether they do it in a similar sort of vein to Returnal, where they give you a biome and at the end is the boss, or whether you're in an open world and you have to find the bosses, similar to what you do in the likes of the Soulsborne titles, or whether it's a more narratively driven linear experience like your God of Wars, like your Spider-Mans, that you get certain bosses at certain times that tell the story. I don't know, but the unique and interesting combat encounters, that really whets my appetite, because they were amazing in everything they'd done previously with those sort of things. And they brought it into this sudden AAA 3D world in Returnal. It was another level again. And if they're going even further with that, I'm very much looking forward to what they're doing. They are a team, a company, and a development studio that keep piquing my interest. So very, very intrigued to see what this is when they're ready to announce it.
Nice, yeah. Well, I also want this game. We both want this game. We know what their potential is, so let's wait and see. This is something, I don't know if you sent this to me to be a news article, or you're like, hey, Rudix, get this because you don't have a PS Portal. But, you know, for
I sent
people
it to
who
you for
like
an article.
for people who like retro gaming, this is a neat little device. It's the M25, and so two things here. They combine all retro gaming as well as the comfort, the design, the amazing sexiness of the PS Portal. Like I said, way back when, the PS Portal is a great design. But here you have this little device, looks pretty sweet, pretty powerful too, 3000 milliamp. So similar to a cell phone, and it packs all the retro games in there for half the price of a Portal, would you say?
Yeah, pretty much exactly half the price of a Portal. I absolutely adore that they went and ripped off the design of it, because the Portal is the singular most comfortable handheld device I've ever used. I don't like how it works. I don't think it's good enough at what it does. I could not recommend anybody go out and buy the Portal, but I want so many other manufacturers to take note of how comfortable that is, of how easy it is to play upon, and use it in their own designs. And these guys who've gone with some amazing emulation that we've got going on here, you'll see in the video that you've been playing, there's God of War titles in there from the PlayStation Portable. There's some racing titles, some Tekken titles from home consoles, from handheld consoles. So we're getting PlayStation games on this through emulation. It is a way for you to play these older titles. It is just in a brilliantly comfortable form factor that is ripping off the PlayStation Portal, which I personally think is a fantastic thing. And because this is running basically on the Android platform, similar to what the Portal is, but unlocked, you can use Bluetooth earphones with it. You can stream your content direct to a television and just sit with that in your hand and have it on. Comes like a Switch for retro emulation. It's got Pokemon available on it. It's got Zelda available on it. It's got God of War available on it. It's got Metal Gear Solid available on it. It's got Uncharted available on it. It's one of those devices that just hits that perfect sweet spot. And even though your phone can do all that, because this is at that £100, $100 price point, which, by the way, is the exact same price as this, the Backbone 1 PlayStation Edition, it gives you everything you need with the games already installed and ways to get more of them and just emulate them wherever you go. Because it's got a bigger battery than the Portal as well, it's going to last longer because it's low power usage for this emulation. It's going to last longer than, say, a Steam Deck or an Asus ROG Ally. It's a fantastic little handheld. It's got some PlayStation love on it, and it's just that design. I am glad to see people ripping off the Portal. And I kind of hope some of the bigger guys do this with some of their future handhelds, because it is the most ergonomic form factor for handheld gaming.
Absolutely. I'm trying to convince myself not to get it right now. We'll see what happens.
That's not going to go well. It's $100. You can find $100 down the back of your sofa and just buy that.
Capcom had an event recently, and they're bringing back a classic because this is the generation of remakes. And is this... I always get confused between remakes and remasters. This is a remaster?
This is a remaster. It's DRDR, so Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Bear in mind, they've already remastered Dead Rising. But this is a deluxe edition with a bit more added in, with a few more, I want to say modes. I think it's a few more modes that they've added in. It's basically the original game prettied up and re-released for current consoles.
They didn't remake it. Oh.
No.
Okay.
No, so it's not a remake. They've not changed any of the control schemes. They've not adjusted any of the story beats or anything like that. As far as I am aware, it is fancy coat of paint to make it feel a bit fresher.
Yeah, not as excited, but oh well. We move on to Kunitsugami, which is a demo that released. You can give it a try, which is pretty cool. I love when they let you experience it. I mean, all we do is praise demos, and that version is now available. This game was shown during showcase season and did grab my attention, as it's sort of that tower defense, but you're kind of on the ground commanding. And I like that sort of setup. It can be a fun game loop, and I'd definitely be curious to try this one out. So I'll have to check it out.
I really like that there's a demo for it. We're going to be speaking about this a bit more in one of the future articles on the show, but there's nothing like going hands-on with something. There was an era. I read an article recently about somebody who went to like a car boot sale or a yard sale or something along those lines, and they bought a PlayStation 1 that came with 3 demo discs. And they said that those demo discs were the most fun that they have had in video games in the past 5 years. And they didn't get to play an entire game of anything, they just got to play a bunch of demos. And it made them want to go and get those games, which for retro consoles is very difficult to do nowadays. But it's an important point for a lot of publishers to take on board. The one thing that will sell a game better than any marketing, better than any influencer information or anything like that, is the game in the hand of the user. Give us demos, give us trials, give us ways to try before you buy. And when you're not doing that, it tends to tell me personally that you're either too confident in your game or not confident enough. So I'm glad there's a demo for this, because I don't know how to feel about it. Like you, it looks good, it interests me, but I want to go hands-on with it. And now that there's a demo, bring it on. I'm game for it.
Yeah, Absolutely. That's cool to see. And I love demos. More demos, the better. So let's jump into the next one. If you want to see more than what we talked about, definitely go check out what's new with Capcom, because they did release a little showcase recently. So everyone's biggest topic in late days is how awesome Concord is going to be. And the 5v5 hero shooter has been displayed to some reviewers. Now, I will say this about the reviewing community. After reading through people who talked about Shadow of the Erd Tree, it came to my attention that reviewers don't necessarily review games that are games of their genre. It's like if I was to review some sort of puzzle game or a first person shooter. It's just not my jam, and that may not be the game I review. So, knowing this, just take it with a grain of salt of what people say. Seeing that it's a mixed bag, that means that there's more people who did enjoy the mechanics, did enjoy what's happening, and those people may be more geared towards PvP shooting. Other people said it wasn't really for them and they worry about it capturing attention for long periods of time. Those people are just saying what's kind of obvious and out there, and sort of low hanging fruit. You want to sort of create this atmosphere. That's how writers work. So I just want to say that is my caveat after reading what these reviewers had to say about their firsthand experience with the game. I think this game will do well for the people who like the genre. And I think there are a lot of things to like. And what these reviewers said is they're trying new things. So that is also very pleasant to hear.
I've actually watched a few reviews on this. There's quite a few people who went hands-on, and the one that surprised me was the one from Kind of Funny. The guy who actually went hands-on with it is a guy who goes by the moniker of Snowbike Mike, and he is Xbox through and through. He ran their Xbox podcast for 4 years before they just moved into this current setup that is Games Daily, where they just talk about all sorts of video games on the daily because there's that much news happening. But he was the one, so Team Xbox was the one to go and play it and have an experience with it, and he came back very positive. He said he would much rather play Concord over Marvel Rivals. It feels like a more complete experience. It feels much better honed. It's got a different way of interacting, whereas with Marvel Rivals, you've got the standard 5v5 Overwatch ripoff where you've got push the payload, team deathmatch, do this, do that, all the same. It's different within the Concord realm of what he has experienced. He liked that you can tailor your character, so it's not a permanent hero shooter, as in this hero does this stuff. You can have 5 versions of that hero that are all built slightly differently, and you can switch between them within the same game. So say you've got one of the heroes that's built for long range, but you need one that's a bit more medium because of the map choice or the encounter design that you're engaging with. You can use the same hero, so you've still got that super power up and their other abilities, but then you're at a medium range shooting distance. It's a much more gunplay based game mode, game in general, which very much speaks more to me. I don't like so much ability spam when it comes to PvP. Give me a gun and let me fight gun to gun sort of thing. There was a lot of positivity that came out of his hands-on time with it. The guys on the panel with him asked a lot of the difficult questions. Will people get bored with it? And he said, yes, of course they will. It's a live service game. It's a multiplayer game. People are bored with Overwatch. People are bored with Call of Duty. People are bored with Battlefield. Why do you think they release new games on the annual basis? The thing that Concord are trying to do is give you that one price to entry and then have microtransactions for cosmetics to sustain it moving forward, and they will keep updating it. They have like a 9 to 12 month release plan initially, and they then have ideas for plans for like 3 or 4 years after that. So it sounds really good now that people have gone hands-on with it. Like you say, there's people who have said it's not for them, and that's absolutely fair. That is their reality, that is their experience. But there is a lot more positivity coming out of people who actually played it now, and people who you wouldn't expect to be on the positive bandwagon and train for it, especially someone like Snowbike Mike, who is that Xbox connoisseur and promoter and what have you, to have such a positive experience speaks highly of the type of game that it might well be for a lot of people.
Concord is going to be epic, everybody. That's right. They're not going to pay to win situation. As Doragon said, they confirmed monetization through cosmetics only. If you did purchase the game, it will be early access weekend, July 12th to the 14th, and an open beta weekend, July 18th to 21st. A lot of cool things. You will get access to all the
hands-on, try it. Open beta, people can try the game, and this is on PC and PlayStation, and I believe there's cross-play during the beta as well. So we could all go hands-on and get our own experiences, and then everybody will be giving feedback on that beta week. I hope it's as good as the current positive talk is saying.
I definitely think, like you said, allowing people to try it will settle what all of the talk is about. Once you have it in your hands, that is when you can give the real criticisms. And you can really feel how the game plays, because PlayStation going down this route, you know that they're going to add their spin to it. There's going to be a certain level of quality control. And so at any case, I'm excited to see how they enter into this space.
It's something that interview with Snowbike Mike said. He actually asked the devs, is this a PlayStation-driven title? Is this Sony telling you to make a multiplayer game out of something that seemed so obviously a single-player game? And they said, no. Before Sony even bought the studio, this was our vision. We were making this hero shooter. It's 5v5. We've got tens of heroes available. Wanted you to have the freedom to build those heroes the way that you wanted to build them, within the constraints of, mechanics and such. But this is the vision that they have always had for the game before they were even a PlayStation studio. When they were independent, this was the vision that they had for it. So that also bodes quite well that these guys have wanted this since day one, and they say that PlayStation haven't stuck their fingers in. So they've obviously seen quality, they've obviously seen the merit of what these guys are making, and feel that it is something that fits the PlayStation umbrella and the PlayStation quality that people are used to. So again, fingers crossed. We'll find out on the 18th when the beta goes live, probably the 19th for me, because there will be server traffic day one, and I don't have that much time to play during the week. But yeah, I will very much look forward to going hands-on with Concord and giving it a go, and hopefully we all come out with some positive ideas on it.
Sweet. Well, let's jump into the first Descendant. If you didn't know, now you know. This is a free-to-play, cross-play, cross-save, third-person MMO with shooting, with grappling hooks, and with the, Energizer Bunny. Yes, the Energizer Bunny makes an appearance, a cameo in the game as one of the main characters, and you yourself can bang those drums and get that electricity flowing in the first Descendant as Bunny. Join other, what do they call them? Operators? Heroes? I don't know what they... Descendant. I guess...
The characters that you play as are the Descendants. Bunny is one of those characters. She is one of those incredibly overly sexualized characters. Unfortunately, she's also very good. She is one of those characters that's quite powerful. You've got a vast range of folks. Go tune into a Wibblesniff stream if you want to see how towing the line of crossing over into complete indecency this game is, but it's fun to play. Like I say, I haven't played it since the beta, and apparently it's way better since that. I had great fun in the beta. I was really looking forward to this release. I've just not had time during this week to get on it. I like this, and it's free to play. Go give it a try. You might find a new game that you absolutely adore. That's how Warframe took off in 2014. 2014, it was a free-to-play that was installed on most people's PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones, and that is a monster game nowadays. There is a platform here for the First Descendant to be something special if they support it properly.
Yes, support it properly. I couldn't help but feel very mobile-esque. All these big, shock, and then ba-boom, you get something. Like, all of that felt very mobile-esque. Obviously, Nexon comes from that environment. But otherwise, gameplay's there. It's fun to grapple hook around. And if you're with a crew, there's no barriers to be able to play with each other, and I think that is a big caveat. If you're hanging out with a mixed bunch. So, hey, if you don't know, now you know. Definitely worth trying it out. Again, these big Unreal Engine 5 games coming out for free. It's a cool new monetization thing. I would say my big two recommendations, the First Descendant as well as the Finals. Two big Unreal Engine 5 games released free, cross-platform, cross-play, different genres. I hope this is a trend moving forward because it's just a treat for people who want to try these things out.
Yeah, I can't say much more. I haven't played the full release, but Wibble's saying in chat he's played the betas from 2022 until launch. It's come on leaps and bounds. He's had a good laugh at my whole go watch how close to the toe of the line it gets. It's fun, and there's drums that you can play in game. Right? What more do you need?
That's what I'm talking about. And you're the Energizer Bunny. You're a bunny playing drums. With electricity. I mean, how could they not have seen what they were creating?
I can't repeat what came out of Wibble's stream earlier, but you are so close to it. It's unfunny. There are many jokes that one can make about this game. It looks good.
Well,
I can't wait to get into it.
Let's keep the jokes coming because there is a ridiculous brawler, bare butt. What is this? It is a brawler where you use your butt.
What?
So it seems to be a party game. This is coming to the PlayStation. It's all about being naked, having a big booty, and getting some boxing in. It's just fun, relaxing, hilarious fun when you're chilling in a group, or say you're sitting down on the couch and you just want to cut back before bed or something like that. Some of these games have their place, and this one is just fun and hilarious, and perhaps it's just that much fun to get out there and stream. Listen, you got your big badonkadonks and you got boxing. They hit some very key things here, and I hope this company has all the success for their idea.
It's a physics brawler, and we haven't had one of those in a while. The last one I truly remember that was proper physics brawler that was available to everyone was Gang Beasts. Obviously, we had Party Animals that was a PC and Xbox release in 2023. That is a great physics brawler, but it's locked to one of the smallest ecosystems on the planet in Xbox. So this one coming to PlayStation is really good. It looks hilarious. It looks like it's got mini games. It looks like it's got like a beat 'em up sort of mode and all sorts of stuff. I was so good. You explaining this did not do it justice. Seriously, it did not. Like, watching this trailer whilst you were explaining, this looks like some huge amount of fun. I will say, when you said like you're just boxing with your butt, I just had an image of Super Duper Sumos in my head with the Gluteus Maximus attack. So it's not quite that, but this looks hilariously good fun. We need party games. We need these varieties, and we haven't had a good physics brawler that's been on basically every platform for a while. So yeah, bring it on. Hopefully it's at a good price point that we can all jump in.
Yeah, just put it on PS Plus. Come on. Let's all get into the fun. Let us have it. The obligatory Helldivers 2 isn't as popular as it was when headlines emerged. Now, I wanted to say a couple things on this. Obviously, we've seen a decrease to about 10% of what it was. But this is how games work. I'm actually happy to see that there is a dedicated 50,000 or so gamers coming to this, logging in daily. I mean, for a live service game, um, coming out this year with the content it has, I think that's extremely well done. I mean, the people who were creating this game said they were only expecting around 100, 200,000 on launch. So they weren't building this game for the influx of people they had trying to knock down the doors. And shout out that the 45,000 is only on Steam, not reflecting who are the players on PlayStation. Um, there is
I'm
obviously
glad you
going to be
brought that up.
some yeah, there's obviously going to be some drop when it comes to population, when it comes to live service games. These guys are figuring it out. I think what they are missing is more content related drop. They need to pull in more theatrics, more story, bring people more into the Helldivers universe. I know they're trying to connect people through Discord, but I would like to see faces to our enemies. Perhaps boss type enemies that raid type enemies. But all of these things take time to build up to, and I think that we'll get there. But this is a game again. You take with stride. I play once a week, and I enjoy it. I love it. I think it's great. But I think this is to be expected. What are your thoughts on games dropping from high initial numbers to now where they are?
Just look at Destiny 2's daily players at the moment. They've dropped to around the 120,000 mark. We are 3 weeks after a massive expansion, and that is a 10-year franchise at this point. That is deemed as the successful live service game that comes with evolving and constant narrative that has PvP and PvE and all of this other stuff. They've only got double the amount that Arrowhead have got in Helldivers 2. It's to be expected. People aren't going to play one game forever and a day. They're going to have their fun with it. They're going to move on. And then if something new comes out and they've still owned that title, they're going to come back to it. This is how the video game industry works. If it's not how it worked, we'd all still be playing Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon on the PlayStation 1. We wouldn't be on the PlayStation 5 playing games like Helldivers 2, because Helldivers 1 would never have been made because we were just playing those games from way back then. It's part of the live service flow of things. You get an influx with new content, there's word of mouth. Helldivers stayed high for a lot longer than I would have expected it to. It's now come down to the hardcore, and those hardcore on Steam seem to be around that 50,000 mark. Like you said, that doesn't include PlayStation players. We don't have any full figures for how many are playing on the console itself because we still don't get that. But there's 50,000 people daily logging into that game. That is an arena tour for a band. Like if you went to see Guns N' Roses, if you went to see Metallica in one of their arena tours, there would be around about that many people in that arena tour. That's a lot of people playing daily. It's nothing to be sniffed at. Nothing to be sniffed at all. And as you say, when new content comes, people will return. I have no fear for Helldivers 2 at all. It is a quality title. It's a very well enjoyed title. It's just people have got other things to play. Well, let them play other stuff. It makes Helldivers 2 fresher when they come back.
I mean, that's the thing. You still have to look at, that 50K mark to be a respectable number. I think they did, achieve great success in being that big shocker, but even still at their current numbers, they're still holding a lot of people. I mean, we see to other live service games, bring up one, Overwatch 2, massively popular, right? This game still doesn't hold as many as Helldivers 2 right now. It's just a situation where the population that they're holding is still respectable. So I give it up to Arrowhead, 50 people strong, and I think they're in a place of being happy right now, even though people are pointing out the population is down. I mean, Halo Infinite, I want to bring up, like, Try checking out those Steam chart numbers, right? It's it's a
When their
place.
previous releases have more than Halo Infinite, yeah, a great game, another great game, great shooter, great PvP experience. But again, that's been out for 2 years now. People aren't expected to stick around in these titles forever, otherwise you wouldn't make another one. It's how the industry works. Let's not sensationalize people actually living their lives.
Plus, in summer, I think you're always going to see a dip in the population, like you say. But that just may be my gaming methods and
I
habits.
can go outside. Of course, I'm not playing games as much. Yeah.
But one other thing I wanted to touch on here, George R. Martin appears to tease Elden Ring adaptation for film TV. This could be epic. First of all, Sony needs to produce this. And it would do gangbusters. I mean, the story in Elden Ring is so deep with lore. It's an absolute thrilling experience. The journey of the Tarnished, or even going through one of the back characters and telling a story of even Freya and her experience of one of the new characters, or oh my gosh, you could pick any of the. Thoile has a crazy story to be told. Milica, Melania, Radon, Marika, like all of these characters could have their own epic, thrilling adventure. You could do the war before the lands between. Like my mind is just racing with theories of how this could go and where they could take this and fill it with a rich world of characters, fantasy, and just nostalgia from people who have played this game.
Yeah,
What are
but it'd be
your thoughts?
unfinished. It's a George R.R. Martin quote. Like, he hasn't finished his series of novels. We saw how bad Game of Thrones, the TV show, went. It went absolutely terribly after a certain point. He'll start this, get bored, turn away, it'll be unfinished, or it'll end terribly. There's no faith in that man. If you like a well-told story, a well-written story, nobody who has engaged with anything that man has done in the past has any faith in him at all. The reason Elden Ring is great is in spite of him. It's because of everybody else who worked on it. That man can't really take any credit for it because he will have got bored halfway through a writing session, gone to the loo and got lost. Like, come on, he hasn't even finished the Song of Ice and Fire series of novels, which he started writing in the 80s. I can't get behind it because it will be a catastrophe because he's involved.
Here's my take on it. George R. Martin is a brand, not a singular person at this point, and he has a team behind him pushing the brand for financial reasons. Because the more he gets his name out there on finished products that he may not necessarily have too much of a hand in, I think that's the way to get things done. Because if you watch George R. Martin's interview on how he contributed to Elden Ring, you will quickly see that he did he wrote an initial outline. They took that outline and then he saw a game 8 years later. That was his input. So I think it's more of a brand. I think this is more of something that will be pushed through due to financial reasons, and I'm on the hype train. I'd love to see it. I'd go to the movie theaters to watch something like this if it was a film, which is crazy to say this day and age.
I can't agree. I've just got no faith in it. As long as he's not involved, I'd be much more on board. But the fact that he's the one saying this, the fact that he's hinting towards it, it's just it's gonna be crap. I'm sorry. If he's involved, it's gonna be crap. I hope he's not involved.
Well, one thing I wanted to get your input is Assassin's Creed is obviously going through a couple releases and they want to stagger the big releases of their large titles. And so what they're sort of putting forth here is a strategy to remake old games. Everybody loves remakes, okay? And you will buy them. Here is my big thing here. If they remake Assassin's Creed Black Flag, will it do better than Skull and Bones? Go.
Unequivocally. Unequivocally. Because they have the bare bones from AC4, it's already there. As long as that remake uses the same engine, it will be incredible. The problem would be if they took that remake and remade it in the current Assassin's Creed engine, which has been creaking at the bones since Origins launched in 2017, which was not designed for the freedom of movement that Black Flag dictates it should have. Black Flag was built on the Anvil Next engines. So Anvil is what was AC1, 2, Brotherhood, Revs, and then AC3 and 4, so 4 being Black Flag, they were on the Anvil Next engine. Those two engines gave you such a wonderful freedom of movement. You could start running up a wall, flick your analog stick to the left, press X, and you would jump off that wall onto a pole, swing off that pole, grab onto a beam, launch yourself off that beam onto the roof to your right. It was a beautifully flowing parkour system, which is what gave these games the legs that they still have. It's why people still play them. If they are going to remake these games, you need to basically rebuild all of those assets from the ground up on that original engine. If they build it on the new engine, they will ruin the game, and it will end up being reviewed worse than Skull and Bones. Whether it sells worse than Skull and Bones is a different matter, but it would end up being reviewed worse if it doesn't play as well as the original. That is the challenge they face with these remakes.
Hey, well, it's a strategy they are going to implement nonetheless. Let's hope they do it right, as you were saying, and we'll wait to see. I heard actually that there is actually a petition to stop Assassin's Creed Shadows from release. Yeah, you've heard of this too?
I read
this
about
is
it
crazy,
yesterday.
right?
It's from the Japanese Department of Culture. It is an offensive game to Japan.
No.
They've got basically everything wrong. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. They did all right with Syndicate. They did all right with Black Flag because Edward Kenway was a Brit as a privateer over in the Caribbean. They did terribly with Watch Dogs Legion. I actually really felt offended by that game. As a Brit playing it, it's meant to be in London. It is so offensive. It is so stereotyped, and it basically feels like a personal attack on Brits, left, right, and centre. So having been on the receiving end of that for a culture that is not as rich as Japan's, I totally get where they are coming from. As of about 3 p.m. UK time yesterday, so that would be 10 a.m. Eastern time, there were 38,000 signatures on that petition, 13,000 of which had been added that day. There is a lot of distaste for this game in Japan. It might end up just being banned in Japan. The Japan Board of Certification might just straight up ban it, and that will not be good for Ubisoft to be banned in a country because of their cultural insensitivity. They have time to
when they were like,
few things.
This will be great for Japan. They'll love us for this game.
And it's Japan aren't adverse to having these games released about these eras, about these sort of characters. Look at Ghost of Tsushima. Look at Rise of the Ronin. Like they are quite happy to have these games launch. And Ghost of Tsushima has done so much good for Tsushima Island and Japan as a whole through tourism, through charity support, especially with the tornadoes that ravaged Tsushima Island not long after the actual release of the game. Fans raised like $70,000 to repair damages just because they enjoyed the game so much. So Japan and the Board of Tourism and the Cultural Board and all that, they're not against games being made and set in Japan. But Shadows is apparently crossing a line. So
here,
I have to step back from this. I'm not involved on either side of it, but I hate what Ubisoft have done to my series anyway. So yeah, go ahead, cancel it.
Here's my one take on why this possibly may be coming. Ubisoft went forward with this game, and the Japanese cultural board was like, "Why were we not paid for a consulting fee on this game?" Because if they were paid for a consulting fee on this game, they perhaps may not have put this petition forward. But
No,
that's just
not how Japan works. That's not how Japan works. They're
my
not America. They're
conspiracy.
not Canada. They're not the UK. Money doesn't talk to Japan when it comes to culture. You adhere to it or you get the hell out. That's essentially how that works.
Well, I guess they were really upset when they saw the trailers, and they've acted out. So
I don't know whether it's the culture board that are promoting. It's going through them. The petition is being made to them because they sort of have the power to then do it. It's kind of shocking because Assassin's Creed has been one of those series that previously has been heralded for its historical accuracy, for its cultural sensitivity. But since sort of Odyssey, that's been out of the window. That they messed up a lot in Odyssey, which Greece weren't happy with. They messed up a lot in Valhalla, which I know some historians were fine with because it's such an undocumented era of history that you can sort of just make it up in British history for that one. But there's aspects that are really well known that they just took complete liberties with, and that sort of stamp of pride of historical accuracy has been lost recently, and now we're hearing this about Shadows. Again, I can't talk to Shadows. I'm not a historian. I'm not Japanese. I don't understand the outcry and the outpouring of disappointment at such a game and the want for it to be cancelled. I can understand their feelings, having played Legion, because of how that made me feel, but that's about as far as I go. So it seems like that badge of pride of historical and cultural accuracy is gone from the Assassin's Creed series now.
well, down with Ubisoft. Don't make a samurai
Ooh.
game. That's our thing.
Also, allow people to play your games when they've bought them. Don't just remove them from their library. Oh, sorry, was that a different topic?
All right, last one on the list. We have beloved PS2 action shooter Star Wars Bounty Hunter is being remastered. Now, at first, I wasn't going to include this, but then I was like, oh, this is a game from my childhood. And they actually, like, remastered it. It looks really cool. I mean, I remember flying around on as the bounty hunter with the jetpack and the pistols, the flamethrower. Like, all of this is such a nostalgic throwback. If you didn't know it was coming out on August 1st, now you do. Really, really cool. I may even consider taking a look at this one just because I just remember playing it as a kid and having so much fun.
Such a good game back in that PlayStation 2 era.
Yeah.
It was incredible, so well made. It had a really good narrative with it, good PvP, excellent PvE. Really, really enjoyed this title. I don't know if the PvP is going to be included. It might be. I kind of hope it is. I hope it's better than other PS2 games that we've had recently. So Tomb Raider Legend is one that they've done recently, and that is just the PlayStation 2 game, which, you know, it's exactly what they said we were getting. So I'm kind of okay with that. But I have a 55-inch 4K TV, so putting a 480p picture on that kind of looks a little bit terrible. This is a remaster, as you said, so fingers crossed that lick of paint makes it look a bit nicer on the big televisions that run at 4K and such. But the gameplay is what holds these up anyhow. Excellent gameplay back in the day. Hopefully they've kind of tweaked it to more modern controls with this remaster as well. But we shall see when it comes out on August the 1st. And I don't know, it might be great, it might be terrible. It's from Asper, who've had like a very Marmite year where it's either been great or terrible. We'll see how this one goes.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we had for you this week in PlayStation gaming news. Dorgon, I know you've been releasing some videos. I was watching one right before the show this morning. What do you got on your channel people can look forward to? Link in the description below.
I have a new video out at the moment on whether or not you should buy an Xbox Series console in 2024. Basically, there's a bit of a buying guide. There's also one on there for PlayStation as well. So if you don't have either of those consoles yet and you want to know if it's worth picking one, go watch those. I've got 2 reviews that are meant to be incoming. One I'm really struggling with because I couldn't finish the game because it made me feel horrifically ill. So that's an interesting one to put out there. And another one is for a PS5 accessory, which hopefully I'll have out within the next month. Outside of that, I've got a few ideas, but we'll see what comes of it. But for yourself, my man, it's Wednesday, and Wednesday night is family game night.
I hope so, because they are growing up. It is summer, and we'll see if they're even home tonight. So I will do my best, but work's been crazy. They live their lives. We'll see if we can get family game night going tonight. Just stay tuned to socials. Otherwise, check out the download this Friday on Cloud&Console, as well as I heard some whispers that Among Us may be happening later on today on SPG's channel. So be sure to stay tuned.
Which you could go claim from PlayStation Plus Essential right now and join in this evening.
Pow! Yes, awesome one. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for stopping on in, hanging out with us as we talk PlayStation. We'll be back next week for more awesome news. Until then, take care and play PlayStation.
Take care, guys. Bye!
Try to believe in me. Why try do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spoke. I ride just to be the me. Oh, finds hype super decently smooth. Nice tide, but as sick as beats.